We start.
We are recording.
Good. Okay. Okay. Welcome everybody. Happy to see you here. Some new faces, some known faces. So this is another Mind Sharpener talk. So now we are at I think the 15th talk, and this is of course going on to the next year. So if you wish to get involved, please contact me on the Mind Sharpener page on Facebook. So we'll see like reports written on each talk, and also streamings, and you can see all the past Mind Sharpener talks streamlined through the Ideas blog website. So we are building something here. We're trying to spread knowledge and passion at the same time. So thanks for coming. Without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to Amilcar Rivera, if my Spanish is still not too broken. Sorry with the pronunciation. He's a contemporary Mexican artist and lecturer in drawing and art in general. He has studied in many universities, if I've read well, and you studied photography as well, writing. So all these maybe we'll touch upon it later. I don't know. It's a surprise. These will have informed your view of art. So the talk will be, and you have exhibited at many galleries in the United States, Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia, Germany. I'm missing probably some countries, but you know, very many countries, and that's it. And he will be talking about, as the title goes, current art in Mexico, both in terms of the most prominent, I guess, artists and art movements, but also the system of art galleries. And you opened one art gallery yourself, so you'll be talking about that as well. So thank you for coming here, and thanks to the public for joining. A round of applause.
Well, thank you. Welcome. Thank you first to Roberto and Lucia for the invitation, and of course to Davide for this opportunity to speak just a bit about the current art in Mexico. It's difficult to make it because I asked how much time do I have, or what's the regular time, and it's more or less 1 hour. So first I want to tell you that this talk is a very personal point of view. You know? It's like art. You know? What I did was a very small selection of certain segments of art in Mexico. They are giant steps between one fact and another, between artists and between movements until today. As you know, Mexico is a big country. We have 129 million persons living together happily there, laughing and having parties every moment. You also have to know that Mexico is a centralist country. That means that it seems that cultural life is only happening in Mexico City, but that's not true. But first, I would like to know, what do you think of Mexico? If you know any artist, like artist who's living there now, or if you know any museum, gallery, or anything about Mexico, and please just tell me. I'm curious about that.
Frida Kahlo.
That is not Frida Kahlo. I forgot to tell you that.
And then Diego.
And Diego. We are Diego and Frida, and if you know someone more, or some movements or anything. No? No? We have a lot of surrealist artists living in Mexico. Mexicans are foreigners who came there to work. It was a very important movement. Actually, André Breton, one of the founders, he said like Mexico, it's a surrealist country. So, no one? No? Okay, I will tell you what I think about Mexico. For me, I will say that Mexico is a country of contrast. That's the word I will use to describe my country. We have very poor people and the most rich persons in the world. We have different climates in just a few hours by car, from mountains with forest and humidity to desert area. From those of the south, you know, and well, we are some Mexicans here, and well, I think we more or less look the same. But even we have blonde people in the north, and people in the south are a bit smaller, and we have in Veracruz we have black people, and we have like very different kind of people. So it's for me, that's the word. Contrast is the word that I will define my country. And I will say that for me, Mexico is divided in small spheres, you know, like a ball. In a city of today's Mexico, there are many different worlds. Even that I was born in Mexico City, and I never went to the other part of the city until I have 18, because I don't need to go there, you know. It's like maybe 2 hours to travel from the south to the north of the city, and you never go there. If you know a girl, and where do you live? Oh, I live in the north. Forget it. I will never go to the city. And it's really true. Like people do that kind of things. So. So I will jump a lot, okay? That's why I make this screen like I have to read, because if not I will get lost. I'm going to tell you a story of one guy named Jose Maria Vasconcelos. He was an intellectual, writer, diplomat, and the country's first Minister of Education. The first to make an education plan thinking about the entire nation. He said something like this. We're talking about 1921, 1924. He says he wants to support Esel art. It's bourgeois. He believes only in public art. Art for the masses, you know. And well, here are Diego Rivera, Siqueiros, and Orozco. They mention them like the three big artists in Mexico in that moment, the muralists. In those years, Mexico needed to spread an idea of nation, of unity, that people knew who were the good guys and the bad guys. Maybe you know that in Mexico we had different intellectuals who have been ideologically close to the left, and in some cases to communism, as in the case of the artists of that time. The muralist artists, they were really, they make the party, and they were in that party of Communist Party. Of course, with the dimension that these words mean in Mexico, which is nothing like what is understood here. Communism here and in Mexico, there's a big difference. There's actually not even close the idea. In Mexico, communist is something in completely romantic, and the party still exists. I don't know if how many people is there, but it exists, and it's funny, I think. Currently, for me, I think there are no right, center, or left parties. They name themselves in some way, but in practice there is no difference. With this principle, the government helped and used the artists who share this ideology. So they use muralism to educate and just to tell the people what to think now in this new country with the name of Mexico, just before the revolution. Of course, there were other artists at that time, and many others very good, not doing only public art. But art was only the official, at least for the majority of people. So then we will make a big jump and came to 1950, more or less, around 1950. There's a movement known as La Ruptura. Mexico enters to modernity. In the cities, people were hungry for new things. Young artists were tired of the old artists, and of course tired of the official and established in the Mexican Academy. So this movement, which did not have a general manifesto or a total union, because some of them they were the big difference of ages, so not all they were young, some of them they were a bit older, but they were not doing these official muralism things. So they create in Mexico City El Salón de la Plástica, and at the same time, like many galleries opened in Mexico City, especially, and somewhere close to the city, and they were not connected at all with the ideas of the government or that proposal. One of the main figures of that movement, it's José Luis Cuevas. Actually, he was working with Siqueiros. He was, Cuevas was at the academy, and he was kicked out, and then he started to work with Siqueiros. There were some kind of friends, but they were fighting, and Cuevas was saying like, "Oh, you're wrong, you're old, and your ideas." And Siqueiros, as you know, he was really tough guy, and he was always carrying a gun. You know, if someone make a different opinion, he just take it out. So José Luis Cuevas is one of these artists from the Ruptura. Another one, I just choose a few of them. Rafael Coronel, Lilia Carrillo. As you know, as you can see, the theme corresponds more to universal vision. There was a boom for the abstract paint. Artists from abroad arrived, and some Mexican artists began to travel. That was important. Another one, Juan Soriano, and I'm mentioning only a few in painting, but at that time there were many movements in the different disciplines of art, and we had a large number of artists from different countries, especially artists exiled from the Second War or the civil Spanish War, which made especially Mexico City and surroundings the place where everything happened. So it was, for me, I think it was the nicest years to Mexico City, because they were all partying, and they were having all this, boom of ideas, and the young with the oldest artists doing things, and with a city that it was more or less secure to walk, and you will have life during the night without any problem. Like I told you, it's just a few of them. Then we arrived at two important figures. The two from the state of Oaxaca. Rufino Tamayo, this is one of his paints, one of the first artists recognized outside from Mexico, and with a different vision of muralism and innovation in materials and concepts. Tamayo lived and was recognized abroad. He sold in important galleries. He was living in Paris and in New York. But at the same time, he was really, really in love with the folklore of his born place, Oaxaca. In 1989, Rufino and his wife, Olga Tamayo, found the Contemporary Art Museum, Museo Tamayo, that still exists in Mexico, and it's a really nice place. And they began with I think it was for many years the most important Biennale of paint in Mexico, and so it was this couple. They made a lot to increase the cultural life and put it more like professional, and giving a different point of view to the art in Mexico, not only the government ideas. I read that he was not a very kind person with others, but somehow he helped the other artists that I want to mention, and I think that he's very important in the story of Mexican art. Francisco Toledo. When he was young, he travels to Paris and come into a contact with the movement and artists of the moment. His theme is completely Oaxaqueño, so from Oaxaca. Insects, animals, and everything he saw as a child in his town. Toledo returns to Mexico and begins a life of social activist, fighting for various social causes and human rights. Oaxaca is currently an important cultural center in Mexico, full of art, galleries, and artists. What he was doing here with his, he was like selling in galleries abroad Mexico, and with that money he came to Mexico, buy houses in the center of Oaxaca, lived there for a few months or years, and then he gave it to the people to open spaces. We have now like photography, the Yago, that it's a place where you can go and learn and work in printmaking, graphic, and it's a very active place. And he did this like with 4 or 5 houses that now they are very frequent by students and young and old people, because you just have to ask and apply, and you go, and sometimes they even give you paper to print, and so you don't have to spend too much money. So I think he was really not only a good artist, but he actually was doing a lot for the Mexican art, and he just passed away 2 months ago, so rest in peace. And come on, he looks happy, you know? Okay, so we go a bit back again. In 1989, a person with the name of Carlos Salinas de Gortari wins the presidency in an election full of problems, and of course with the help of a great fraud. One of the things that Salinas did was found the INBA, Instituto Nacional de Bellas Artes, and within the FONCA, that it's Fondo Nacional de Cultura y las Artes, that means something like National Fund for Culture and the Arts. And with this is created financial aid for national artists. It's the first time, so in 1989, that artists have some help from the government. And this fund, it's divided in 3 categories. Young artists, that I don't really know it, but I think you can apply from 18 until 32, 33. Then creators with experience, that it's 33, 34. I don't know the limit of the age. And then the last one, it's creators emeritus, yeah. So just the old artists who just need some help to live and to start to continue to create. The first 2, they give it for 3 years, and I think it's a good quantity of money that you can live like happy and just creating those 3 years. And it sounds great, right? Like, but imagine we are 1,020, I don't know how many millions there, so it's not enough for everyone. To date, they exist, the FONCA, and have good things and other bad things. They have been very well used by some and very poorly understood by others. So much so that there are people who specialize in winning it repeatedly. Really. Actually, there are some courses in Mexico that you go and how to win the FONCA. And they teach you how to win it. I think it's okay, you know, because, for example, I never applied. Probably next year I will apply. But I have friends that they are, they didn't give it to me, and it's not fair because I work a lot and my work is better than the other guy that they gave it to, and it's the third or fourth time that this guy have it. So it's like, well, you don't know. There are also artists who focus on winning them as an obsession. They work for the Fonca, so they produce like, oh, let me see who won. Oh, they are doing this. Okay, so my production will be in that direction. I think it's not so healthy to do that. At present, they have gone through many problems of organization and legitimacy, because they are also believe that they are as a favor only for friends or close group of artists. Each year that they public the results of the Fonca, I look on, well, not in the newspaper, that's a romantic idea. I look on the computer, and I see a lot of friends or names that I know, and some of them they repeat, but some of them they are the son of the big artist in Mexico and the son or the grandson. So you say like, there's something strange. Why it's always more or less the same? Well, maybe because the other millions of people, they never apply. So I don't know. I have I question every time, but like I said at the beginning, I think it's good to have it, and it's good that it exists, but it's not healthy to just think that I need the Fonca to survive and to focus on that. Okay. We're going to jump not far away from that. I'm going to tell you the story of an artist who somehow did change or put a direction to contemporary art in Mexico. Gabriel Orozco, one of the most recognized Mexican artists abroad. Orozco, as a young man, made a workshop in his house with some of his artist friends. They called the Friday workshop. Everything was very informal, nothing like, they were just a group of friends, and they call it that because of course it was on Friday, and it was they maybe have some drinks, and they were just talking about the new ideas, what they're working. They were just, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. They start some art projects, and some of the assistants were traveling abroad, bringing new ideas, and some of them came from artist families. For example, the son of Toledo, Dr. Lacra is his artist name. He was assisting to this workshop. Actually, Gabriel Orozco, he comes from a family of artists. So they just were getting together there, and they start to talk and to share their ideas. One of the assistants there, Guillermo Santamarina, a curator who came to attend this meeting, says, at that time, the offer in Mexico City was very small. It was very limited to the official culture, focused on the certification of the conquest of the neo-Mexicanist or of the abstract related to the rupture and the enormous burden of muralism. The meetings talk about the options, the need to find other directions in an international dimension, which is consistent with a technological development that allows globalization. These artists are the first Mexican protagonists in a global scene. In this same group, there was a guy whose last name is Curi. I forgot now the name, and well, he with another girl that they made this game of words with the last names, and from there we have a Kurimansuto gallery. That it's one of the most famous and international known gallery in Mexico, and of course they work with Gabriel Orozco and some other artists that they were hanging there. Okay, so let's. Well, remember that I told you that at the beginning that Mexico is a centralist country. It seems that everything happens in the city, but I also told you that that's not true. Just a few years before they were doing this in Guadalajara, city situated in the north center of the country, was organized Guadalajara Expo Arte, art fair. International galleries were brought to Mexico for the first time. In Monterrey, a city in the north of the country, was organized the Monterrey Show in 2002 and 2003. All this experience became important for the year 2004. Sonamaco, organized in Mexico City until to date, which is considered one of the most important art fairs in Latin America. In those years, specialized magazines and in other art fairs, people start to talk about the Mexican boom. All these artists, they were everywhere, and we have a lot of actually in cinema, the directors of photography, photographers, they start to be famous, and just a few years later they start to win these prizes like Oscar, and they start to work with the famous directors from around the world. Maybe you know some of these movies and some of these filmmakers that now they are really, really famous. So it begins in more or less in these years that Mexico was like the boom, and everyone was speaking about the Mexican artist, and actually in the Venezia Biennale, they give us, I don't know how it works, but they give Mexico like a space that we will have it every year in the Biennale. So today we have many art fairs in Mexico specialized in young artists, biennales, workshop galleries, and almost all of them organized by private and independent initiatives. There are artists all over the countries doing things, opening spaces, and just working a lot without expecting anything from the government. It's in 2005, Mexico is the country invited to the Arco Art Fair in Madrid, and it was like part of this movement and this idea that Mexico was doing a lot of great things. Let's make another jump. We live, me and my wife, we live in the state of Puebla, a city 2 hours from Mexico City, with 6,002,000 happy Poblanos. Puebla is one of the states with the most art school, like in it's not too much kilometers, but in this small city from Mexico, there are more or less 6 universities with I don't know how many students, but there's a lot, like hundreds every year. And of course in Mexico education is different than here, where it's more popular to go for private school, universities to pay for education than to go for public art education. And with a significant, in the same city, there's a significant number of artists living and working. The community mostly collaborates, and because we are artists, you know, we have our difference, but mostly of them we collaborate. I present a list of some of these spaces, and I'm missing many others that I didn't include because of time, but believe me, there's a lot. Well, I will just go a bit fast. One of these spaces is Mercado Negro by Nora Adame, and all of these places are directed by artists. So this is Nora Adame and Alejandro Osorio. They have this really big space, and they were, through the years, they were remodeling and doing like fixing these spaces so they can have different exhibitions in the gallery, workshops. They have store, so I think they are doing a really good job. And actually, most of the places I'm going to mention, they work very closely with the students there, with the young artists. They open the galleries to make like really good curated exhibitions. The next place is Plataforma Art Base from Dulce Pinzón. I think well, she's really well known abroad Mexico, and she became famous with this. She's a photographer, and she became famous with this series of photographies from migrant, or I don't know if only Mexicans, but people who are who goes to the United States, and they have, for example, this guy who is cleaning the windows in the buildings in New York, or the nanny, you know, taking care of child, and it's dressed. All of them, they are dressed like superheroes. You know? So I think it's really nice work. Impronta by Fernando Di Yarza, really nice and open artist who works really close with the young people and with the students, and he rent this space, and he start to fix it, and now he is making art residence, and it's very active in the community of art, and it's master of printmaking. Proceso Abierto by Luis Canseco. Well, this artist is known at different publication, and specialized art people said that he is one of the young great artists to follow. So if you want to follow him, but I think he is really nice artist, and well, this like young artist, like he's 30 something, so he's not so young, but younger than me, of course. But I think that for his age and his career, he's one of the most serious guy I know, that he's with working with discipline and doing very intelligent decisions in his career. And then we go to another state close to Puebla. The name is Tlaxcala, and it's less than 15 minutes between cities, so it's really close. And there are other independent spaces and initiatives. La Galería del Agua by Rafa Cázares focus not only on art, but on creating awareness about the environment and inviting artists from different disciplines in the art residence and working with the community. He's making conscious about with the problems we know and we have in all the world, and we have to take care. Well, he's recycling glass and some other materials, and with that they invite artists to do some work. So it's really, really interesting. And all these initiatives and projects together, for all this, we need independent cultural managers, such as Mericia Morales Curiel. She have a project named Mecenas, and really active woman. She's everywhere. I will not be surprised if she appears here, take photos and say goodbye, and she goes to another place, because most of these tips or helps to the young or not so young artists, she give it for free. So that's for me incredible. No? Of course, she do some works in some places and at the universities and cultural things, and but she do a lot for free just because she loves art and she tries to help especially young artists. And but we also need independent curators like Laura Resendiz, sorry. She has a project named Ciclo. She leaves Mexico City to find artists and non-traditional spaces for contemporary art. The results are very, very interesting because she goes to all places in a state where no one goes there, and she invites artists and they do something with the community, but it's not like close to, well, the art is maybe not close to folklore, it's more like contemporary art. So I think it's really interesting work what she is doing. And finally, in this part of the speech, I will talk about our project, Munive Arte Contemporáneo. It's also located in Tlaxcala, in a house that belongs to my family since 1927. Yes, sorry. And 2 years ago, we started the restoration of the house. We opened in April of this year. And so far, we have had 4 exhibitions with different artists. We have a courtyard, and we made some presentation of books, small concerts of experimental music, and different events that help the cultural life in the state. So, but let me tell you that Tlaxcala is one of the smallest states in Mexico, and people from other parts of Mexico, they make laugh of Tlaxcala. It's so small that people, first they think it's part of Puebla, that Puebla is another state. And it's so small that they say, actually in Facebook there are memes, you know, that Tlaxcala doesn't exist. There's a movement of this, there's a group of musicians, and they have a group that it's I don't know how to say, but the name of this group is Tlaxcala Doesn't Exist. And well, they make a lot of fun with this, and of course I love to. So this project, it's really challenging for us because we have to make the people see us. We are just starting, but I think we are going in the right way. So it was like that. Then we fix it, the yard. Sorry. Okay, so this is more or less inside. That's the original floor, so it's a bit dirty, but we cannot do too much. And that's how it ends now. It looks like that.
And then pictures of your paintings.
Yes, there are some of my paintings there. I will show you. So I will No, sorry, I forgot something. In 2018, we start with a new government. The new president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, tried 3 times to be president, and finally he succeeded. It is supposed to come from the left. Remember that left in Mexico is not the same left like in other countries. And one of the initiatives was to take the Secretariat, Ministerios, ministers, out from Mexico City, just to not to be again the centralist country that everything is in Mexico City. So the only minister that really went out from Mexico City was the culture ministry, and guess where they put it? In Tlaxcala, because
Really?
it's small and well, let's make something there. So let's see what's going to happen. It's only 1 year. They are not. We give them the biggest nice building in the city to put the minister, and I was there only once to give them the invitation when we opened the gallery, and there was only one nice secretary doing nothing in a table, and there was empty. A lot of newspapers start to say that they are not there, they are just in paper. So they go some days and they take a lot of photos. Hey, we're here. Well, we will see. I'm forgetting something important. Well, and in this government, I think that the minister is again focused only in folklore, leaving aside what can be understood as the contemporary art. And they said art must be for the people. The rest is for the rich, for the elite. So remember what Vasconcelos says 1920 something, but it's the same speech. They think that because you paint or you have a gallery with white walls, it's for rich, and the other is for the people. I really don't get that idea, but that's the more or less what the minister are saying now. In that Mexico, full of different spheres, we have a phenomenon that has changed the way of living, and it's called narcotráfico. And art always has an opinion about it. And I will show you 2 videos, not so long. One is from Pedro Reyes, and the first one, and the other is from Rafael Lozano Hemer, with 2 present problems of Mexico: violence and migration. So I will just put it here. No, it's okay.
The news.
No lo veo. It's supposed to be here like the play and just put it, but I don't see.
PDF.
Uh-huh.
¿No está en YouTube?
Maybe we can play it on the
Yes. I don't know which of.
on the left, if you can use Chrome. On the left side. There's a bar.
It's Chrome.
At the top, second.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Chrome?
Yeah.
It's this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
8 minutes.
No, the other one.
Ah.
El otro.
Sí, okay. It's 8 minutes long.
Sí.
Es muy fácil ser seducido por las armas. Tú puedes decir como operación artística, voy a coger pedazos de madera y voy a construir una ametralladora de juguete, o puedes hacer lo opuesto, voy a coger una ametralladora y voy a hacer otra cosa con ese material. Yo sí creo que el trabajo del arte, o sea, la creatividad, es justo cómo puedes convertir tus instintos más negativos, ¿no? Tus instintos de muerte, en instintos de creación. Y soy artista plástico o visual o un poco de todo. Digamos que yo me considero básicamente escultor, aunque la mayoría de las piezas que hago tienen como un componente de participación. No solamente me gusta que se usen, sino que también tengan alguna utilidad para la transformación psicológica o social. Lo bonito de Disarm como proyecto es que combina como el universo musical con el universo de la escultura y al mismo tiempo la tecnología. Entonces es la redención de ese metal, ¿no? que te podría haber matado a ti o a mí. Pues mejor que sean instrumentos. Y un poco para dar antecedentes de este proyecto de Disarm, fue en 2007 que hice un proyecto que se llamó Palas por Pistola. Eso fue en Culiacán. Culiacán es una ciudad en donde hay mucha violencia. Hicimos una campaña de donación voluntaria de armas de fuego y se fundieron. Fueron 1527 armas para hacer el mismo número de palas. A raíz de la experiencia de Palas por Pistolas, un amigo que trabajaba en la Comisión Nacional para la Prevención del Delito me llama y me dice, va a haber una destrucción de armas en Ciudad Juárez. Esos no fueron de una donación voluntaria, esos fueron encartadas a grupos criminales. Finalmente ya las trajimos para México y cuando me las entregan a mí ya están cortadas y todo, de forma de que ya no puedan ser utilizadas como armas. Pero en el proceso se me ocurrió que podía haber la oportunidad de hacer algo distinto y así fue como surgió la idea de hacer instrumentos musicales. La primera generación de instrumentos se hizo con el apoyo de Alumnos 47, que es una fundación aquí en la Ciudad de México, y empezamos a hacer instrumentos un poco siguiendo los instrumentos tradicionales, una guitarra, un bajo, un saxofón, un xilófono. Y a partir de eso pasamos a la siguiente fase, que fueron los instrumentos mecanizados. La tecnología surge a través de Cocolar, que es donde está nuestro taller, y todo un grupo de especialistas que juntó Alejandro Machorro.
El objetivo desde el principio era crear una serie de mecanismos que cuando estuvieran juntos le permitieran al músico hacer música en lo que siempre la hace, que en este caso fue live, y por el otro lado terminar en un golpe con un arma que sonara de alguna manera. Y creo que otra parte difícil pero súper entretenida y divertida, estuvo increíble, es sacar los sonidos de las armas. Entonces pensé que teníamos que invitar a personas que realmente tienen una relación con la música, pero de forma mucho más con flow, ¿sabes? Y la verdad es que el primero que se me ocurrió fue...
Pues caí en este proyecto que ahora se llama Disarm, de Pedro Reyes. Y bueno, me empecé a involucrar a sacar sonidos de los fierros. Al principio parecía una misión muy difícil porque para explorar a qué suenan las cosas, les pegas primero y después lo estrellas uno contra otro y después lo raspas y empiezas a investigar de alguna manera qué le puedes extraer. También me ayudó muchísimo Julián Plasencia, otro músico colega de la vida y que es músico electrónico.
Debido al poco tiempo que teníamos, no hubo una posibilidad de hacer la música con esos instrumentos. O sea, porque los instrumentos se estaban creando a la hora que teníamos que estar creando la música. Entonces lo que hicimos fue grabar todos los sonidos y llevamos todo al estudio. Y en el estudio hacer la clasificación como ya en aparatos que se llaman samplers. Entonces los samplers, tú tomas un fragmento de un sonido y lo puedes acomodar a lo largo de un teclado. Entonces con Eddie, una vez que ya todos los sonidos estaban sampleados, pues fue sentarnos en el estudio y hacer piezas de música juntos. Al final, cuando veías a las máquinas tocar las piezas, te quedaba claro que no verlas no tenía sentido. O sea, esa música tenía que estar en el lugar donde estuvieran esas máquinas y que esas máquinas estuvieran tocando la música.
Es como si tú tuvieras, por ejemplo, en una pianola una serie de líneas que fueran así, pues tal cual, así como lo ves en la pianola, en el instrumento se van a ver patrones visuales que tienen que ver con patrones acústicos. Se vuelve también un espectáculo visual, ¿no? Porque le das plasticidad a esos universos musicales que normalmente están ocultos dentro de la computadora. No es que sea buena ni mala, ¿no? Todo depende de cómo lo utilices. Entonces un poco el trabajo espiritual es como decir, voy a coger este metal, que es esta pistola, que representa los instintos de matarnos los unos a los otros, y lo voy a convertir en un instrumento que es finalmente la forma más sofisticada de comunicación que existe para el planeta.
Well, and the other artist is Rafael Osano Hemer. I think I download the another video, but just to have the idea, I will just play this one. Maybe it's you. Where's the?
You can also do on the...
Los dos primeros canales de la mezcladora, a tu izquierda de la mezcladora, los dos primeros, esos dos.
Okay, so let's.
¿Ya fue todo? Es decir, el volumen del video está muy bajo, lo acabo de ver.
Oh, sí.
Despite these hard physical barriers seeking to separate the two communities, Montreal-based artist Rafael Lozano Hammer is building some very unique bridges to connect these two cities once again.
I'm here in El Paso presenting a project called Border Tuner, in Spanish as Sintonizador Fronterizo. It's a large-scale interactive installation that will take place across both sides of the border Chamizal Market, Ciudad Juárez. The idea is to create bridges of light using very powerful like searchlights, and these bridges of light actually send the voice of people across the U.S.-Mexico border. So these are cities that, you know, are connected historically, fraternally, economically, environmentally. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that this is a platform for people to talk and tell a different story than what we normally hear in the media about the border match.
Lozano Hammer orchestrated the project in collaboration with curators from the autonomous University of Ciudad Juárez and UT El Paso. Here's the UTEP's curator, Carrie Doyle, to explain her role in the project.
Well, there's a lot of under-the-radar work that went into this installation. So we've actually spent most of the past year getting permits, making sure that we had all the technology in place, getting both cities involved. And at the moment, we are working on inviting the public, really. So we have curated a short conversation at the beginning of each night on a variety of topics, on immigration, on feminism, on youth culture at the border. But most of the night is going to be an open mic for the public in both Juárez and El Paso. And so right now, our biggest project is to get the word out and to invite people to come down and to be a part of this.
For more information on Border Tuner, please visit the Stanley and Gerald Rubin Center for the Visual Arts at 500 West University Avenue or call them at 915-747-6151.
So I don't know if you get the idea, but it works like I record something in my voice, and in the other part of the border someone says something, and we have these lines, and I can move it, so when they touch each other, the lights, it open I don't know how, but it's that you will hear what the other person is saying, and they will hear what you're saying. So it's just to communicate and to make it. He's always working with this technology, and he actually was in charge in 2000 in Mexico City to make this, the change of century. He made something with shadows that you walk on the Plaza Mayor, that it's Mexico downtown, and with these big lights, when you make your shadow, it appears another guy saying, moving, and it's really nice. If you want to search more about him, you will be surprised. So I was thinking about this talk a few hours ago, and I was reading the newspaper, and Julio Cortázar said, stop the press, I have news from Mexico. ¿Cómo era aquí para...?
If you press there.
Presentación.
In Palacio de Bellas Artes is this big, beautiful white building that for Mexico is like the principal space for great exhibitions. And they make this exhibition with the name is Emiliano Zapata después de Zapata. And someone decided that it would be a nice idea to select for the main image of the exhibition this small paint for making Zapata in the gay way. That other guy with a big mustacho is the grandson of Zapata, and they make some they start some legal accusations to the artist and to the government. This was just yesterday morning. He is the artist, Fabián Chaires, and look the small paint. It's really small, and I something moved in the presentation, but there were a movement yesterday from this Zapatistas movement that they work on the land, and they went to this Palacio de Bellas Artes like a manifestation, and they were trying to burn the paint. So it's really funny, no? That the Mexican government somehow provoked this because someone have to select the image. It was not for free, and you know that in this case art is always with a political purpose, and this government, it's like recovering this idea of our heroes and Juarez, Zapata, and making them bigger again, and like, you know, something like let's make Mexico great again, but with the heroes. And they make this Zapata in this image for this, because in, you know, Palacio de Bellas Artes is a big building, and they bring this beautiful carteles for the exhibition, and I think it's really, really funny. But the people, it's really angry about it, because in Mexico we are machos. No? We have that wrong idea of machismo, and so I like this idea, and of course nothing is going to happen like always, but it's funny. That's the news from Mexico. Sorry. Well, I put this because it changed something. I don't know why. Well, each country has a story told by its artists, but it's not necessary for artists to talk about the country all the time. There are universal themes, and from my point of view, we are more important as human beings, not by our nationality. I am not a Mexican artist. I make art, and I was born in Mexico. I like that, and I use my senses and everything that I have absorbed from my culture. But I am also absorbing and using what I see in other places. We, as individuals, live in these spheres, in villages, and sometimes they come together, like today, us, here. So, achulabay.
Thank you. Can you share some more of your paintings, some of your works?
Yes. How can we do that? Because I haven't.
Online, or you have some online?
Yes.
So while we're having this little break, we didn't really offer more.
Yes.
Yeah. So bad of us. There is wine. So I will kick off if people are shy. Oops.